disrupt their operation.
What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with some Destiny 2 content, and in this one we're going to talk about the Red Death Catalyst. So there's been a bit of conversation about it because, well, it's very strong, and as you can see right here on my Solar Titan, by just making a couple of kills. We've got Restoration ×2 on the go, as well as Cure ×2, and of course rocking a Solar subclass we can get other bonuses, such as Radiant, and on the most part, wherever we're in a situation where we can keep making kills, Restoration, Radiant, and Cure are pretty much always active. So this is incredibly strong, guys. We're going to talk about it in the video. And it's a funny one because with Red Death now able to give us a source of Restoration ×2 so easily, often, as we've seen in the past, Bungie don't seem to like us being able to do it with such ease. So I'm kind of surprised that they've made the catalyst for Red Death so strong. And so first up, in terms of acquiring the Catalyst, now that Act 2 is live, we can get the Catalyst at Season Pass rank 145. To recap on Red Death, it comes with Redemption, where final blows with the weapon cure you and increase reload speed, and reloading after final blows cures nearby allies. On top of that, it has Inverse Relationship, and when we deal damage with the weapon, it gains increased handling, takes reduced flinch, and movement speed is increased for a short time. Then, the Catalyst bonus allows final blows with the weapon to charge it, and when the weapon is charged, the next final blow creates a healing burst at your location and leaves a remnant behind that provides restoration to allies. So of course, on the first kill, we get Cure ×2, and that comes with Red Death at base, but to charge the Catalyst, basically we just have to go ahead and make 2 kills. And then on the third kill, we get Restoration ×2. And obviously this is pairing up with Cure, which we're getting every time we make a kill. So in terms of applying Restoration and Cure, we're talking about making 3 rapid kills to get both of them going at 2 stacks. So again, this is a really easy source of restoration, and outside of Warlock builds, I believe this is pretty much the only way to instantly get Restoration ×2. And so every single individual kill that we make is actually healing us, but on top of that, we're getting the constant health regen from Restoration. And so that is what the Catalyst does at base, but there are ways obviously to build into it a little bit, nothing too complicated, but on my Titan right here, we've got Ember of Empyrean on the Solar subclass, and Solar Weapon or Ability Final Blows will extend the duration of Restoration and Radiant effects that are applied to us. So that's extending the buff that we're getting from the Catalyst. Additionally though, this Ember of Solace and Radiant and Restoration effects have an increased duration again. I'm assuming that that stacks with Empyrean, but there are other things like Ember of Benevolence, and applying Restoration, Cure, or Radiant to allies grants increased grenade, melee, and class ability regen for a short duration. And given that the Red Death can give some of those buffs to other players, there's also a sort of support element which is benefiting us with that fragment as well. And I've got Ember of Torches on at the same time, where powered melee attacks against combatants make you and nearby allies radiant. So with all of these going together, we pretty much have most of these effects active 100% of the time. And you can see in the clips as well, I'm just sort of standing in the middle of arenas in Echo's Battlegrounds, taking damage from the boss and a whole bunch of the enemies. And we're just eating it up with that crazy regen that's coming back to us. I'm also rocking Path of Burning Steps right here for Titan, as Solar Final Blows periodically grant us an escalating bonus to weapon damage. Obviously there are other exotics that could be run, but I think it's a good bonus to have, given that obviously if you're running Red Death, that's taking up the exotic slot, so we're going to be using it quite a bit. So Path of Burning Steps is one good option, but obviously we've got things like Precious Scars, also Speaker's Sight on the Warlock. These are some of the bonuses that are going to give us almost invincibility, just about as close as we can get, but there are loads of different exotics that work with Solar and some of the subclass verbs, so let us know any builds that you'd love to rock with it down below. But yeah, again, I'm really surprised that Bungie have made this thing so strong. And in sort of middle tier content, I suppose, on the most part, running this with healing exotics and some of the fragments in the Solar subclasses make it pretty monstrous. So the only downside that people will probably really talk about is the fact that we have to use the exotic slot on Red Death. Obviously there's a limit to how strong that weapon is at higher tiers of content, Grandmasters, things like that, but given that it also has a support component, I think there will be some very viable builds that we can run with this. So give us any experiences you've had with the Red Death. It's an incredibly strong weapon once that Catalyst is on it as well, as there are so many benefits that we're getting from the various exotic perks. And like I said, I've had fun running Path of Burning Steps just to bump up that damage. And it's certainly something not to sleep on now that Act 2 has rolled around. So let us know what you think in the comments section. But if you've enjoyed the video today, a rating really does help us out on the channel. Also be sure to get subscribed and I'll keep you posted with more Destiny content. But otherwise, I appreciate you tuning in and I hope you guys have an awesome day.